Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you from my library in my home in Canada, where I did much of the writing of my biography of Fryderyk Chopin. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce my book to readers of this new Vietnamese edition. Chopin's music hardly requires an introduction, of course. The Vietnamese pianists have begun to emerge on the international scene, and one or two of them have become prize winners in prestigious piano competitions, including the International Chopin Competition in Warsaw. It's difficult to say what Chopin would have made of competitions because he abhorred spectacle of any kind, especially in piano playing, and competitions are where spectacle abounds. But he would surely have been impressed with a high standard of technical perfection which we witness, to say nothing of the profound interpretations that the best of these young players bring to his music. Most of all, I think, Chopin would be astonished to find that he had found a place in the pantheon alongside other romantic composers, including Schubert, Mendelssohn, Schumann, and Brahms. During his lifetime, it seemed an unlikely outcome, but today we take it for granted. It's been well said that inside every biography there's an autobiography trying to get out. My own fascination with the music of Chopin goes back to my earliest years as a child, growing up in a small industrial town in England. It was there that I began taking piano lessons and discovered Chopin's mazurkas and preludes, some of which are not difficult for a young beginner to play. Later on, after I'd encountered some of the bigger works, the ballades, scherzos, for example, and had learned to play them after a fashion, I made a profound discovery. Here was a composer whose music I could not live without. And later still, as a music producer for the British Broadcasting Corporation in London, I had the good luck to work with many of the world's leading pianists: Wilhelm Backhaus, Shure Tchaikovsky, Louis Kentner, Vlado Perlmutter, and Arthur Rubinstein among them. Producing these masters of the keyboard within the close confines of a recording studio, and then conversing with them about their performances, taught me a great deal about the piano, about musical interpretation, and about the ideal requirements for great Chopin playing. And what I learned in those faraway days has remained with me for life. In brief, it's impossible to play Chopin well without attention to beauty of tone, clarity of texture, fidelity to the text, and most important of all, to the suppression of self. This last point is one over which most pianists struggle. The pianist is there to serve the composer. The composer is not there to serve the pianist. In the worst cases, the vanity of the player is all that we're able to remember. So much for the music. Chopin's biography, the story of his life, is a different matter, and it's here that my introductory words may find a receptive audience. For the details of Chopin's daily existence are not well known, even though they're connected to his music at 100 different points. In the older biographies, fantasy often took the place of fact, and the truth was never allowed to get in the way of a good story. I knew that if I were to write a new biography of Chopin, I would have to travel to many different places, to all the locations where Chopin left traces of his presence, to Poland, France, Mallorca, and Britain. I like to call this the geography of biography, a far safer method than staying at home and making it all up. You ask me if I have any favorite memories of these travels. My journeys through Poland were important, of course, and helped me to write the early chapters on Chopin's formative years in Warsaw. And my trips to Mallorca, and my visits especially to the monastery in Valdemosa, where Chopin brought his 24 preludes to completion, also stand out in my recollections. With the help of Polish scholars, I hope that I've been able to provide much new information, which is presented in the pages of my book for the first time. I hope that you'll find my biography interesting, and that it will foster a deeper understanding of the composer who created music which moves us all to a better place. Thank you very much.